thinking of changing up how I do my vlogs. So if y'all could help me out, it would be really fantastic. So uh, some folks and I have been talking about like how we can all improve our channels, giving each other feedback and that kind of thing. One of the suggestions that I got was that perhaps the homesteading stuff and lifestyle content that I tend to do in the vlogs is like off-putting because it's not focused on books specifically. So could you let me know down in the comments your thoughts on that? Do you want to keep seeing like lifestyle elements work into the vlogs? Do you want to keep seeing like my equestrian journey and like my chickens and gardening stuff? Like, you want to keep seeing that stuff, or do you want me to just focus on the books? Because people do it both ways, right? So like the vlogs that I tend to like the best are the ones that include more lifestyle kinds of things in them. So like I really absolutely love Liv's vlogs from Olivia Reads a Latte. She's like my vlogging inspo. Like, I aspire to vlog as well as she vlogs. I also really like the vlogs that Lexi from Alexandra Roslin does. And she tends to show like some lifestyle things. So just like, let me know down below, like, what is your preference? What would you like to see here at the Lovestead from the Lovestead? There's also folks that do strictly like just talking about books. I know Mr. Francie at Mr. Francie Reads tends to just focus on the books in his vlogs, and that works too. Both of them can be really excellent. Just let me know your preference and what you would prefer from my channel, and that would be really helpful for me in making sure I'm creating the stuff you want to see. I really enjoy sharing the lifestyle stuff. I really like sharing with you the things that I love to do and all of that stuff outside of books, including the books that I'm reading. But yeah, just let me know. Give me your thoughts, give me your feedback, chat with me down below. So one thing that I want to do with my vlogs this year, I think, is focus on one specific book or like one specific theme in them, rather than just doing like all the books that I'm reading. Hello, camera adjustment. So today in this vlog, I am going to focus on this book, Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This is a book that is pretty popular on BookTube, so I want to share my thoughts. I'm doing this as a buddy read. That was my other thought with vlogs, is that I could vlog the buddy reads that I do with folks, because usually when I buddy read, we're buddy reading some books that are either pretty BookTube popular or interesting for some other reason, right? So I do have a buddy that I'm buddy reading this with, and it is the lovely Amy at Harvard in Pages. We are reading this. Today is February 22nd, and it is a Tuesday. I have had a hellish weekend. My cat Cherry has been very, very sick. She has had a kidney infection, and Saturday her kidneys were starting to shut down. I was up every 2 hours making sure she got fluids and little bits of food and could take her to the bathroom, because she was too weak to get to the bathroom on her own. I took her to the vet on Saturday, and they said that you could take her to the emergency vet, but I'm in Iowa and our emergency vet clinics were booked. I mean, they were straight booked. There was no clinic in the state of Iowa. I called everywhere. I called Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, Ankeny. They were all booked. None of them could get her in. The closest that I could have gone was the Twin Cities in Minnesota. And I couldn't do it. That would have been so stressful for her to begin with, to take her that far. And the cost would have been astronomical. I would have had to get a hotel room. Like, it just wasn't something I could do. So the veterinarian gave me what I need to do through the weekend to keep her alive, basically. And it was like every 2 hours, making sure she got some fluids and potassium, and making sure she got some food. So I was just taking like little dabs of canned food on my finger and like putting it on her tongue so she would swallow it, so she'd keep some food in her system, like every 2 hours. I didn't sleep for 48 hours. I didn't sleep at all through the weekend, and I was so worried about her. I got her back to the vet on Monday, and they were able to give her some like IV fluids and IV medications. And today is Tuesday, and at 3:15 p.m. today, I was able to bring her home. She had a turnaround, and I'm honestly, it hasn't sunk in yet. It hasn't sunk in yet that my cat is home and she's on the mend, because she's 12 years old, and I honestly thought this was the end of the road. I didn't think that she'd be coming home, and it hasn't totally sunk in yet. But my Cherry is still here. She's still fighting. She's not quite out of the woods yet, but they believe that since I was able to get her through the weekend, that I'll be able to keep her in the right, keep her going in the right direction, that she'll be less stressed at home, which will help her heal as well than she would be staying at the clinic. So I've got her home. I'll keep up with her meds. She's drinking on her own now. Her potassium levels are looking a lot better, so she doesn't have like the muscle weakness that she was having. She can actually get to the bathroom. She can get to the water bowl on her own now. So we can do every 4 hours now instead of every 2 hours, which will be nice. I'll be able to get, little chunks of sleep here, like newborn mothers do when they come home from the hospital with their newborn babies, right? So that's kind of what I went through this weekend, and I was supposed to start this buddy read with Amy on Friday, and Friday night is when Cherry started getting really sick. So I haven't read any more than like the prologue of this. So it's going to be fresh start here today. I'm also in the middle of wrapping up a term of classes at work. I have to grade all the final grades and get through all of the stuff that comes with an end of term at work. And then the next term starts March 2nd. So I've got to prepare for next round of classes. And I'm building a new course at work, and I'm heading a committee. Like, there's just so much going on right now. Yeah. So it is what it is. It's getting a little bit better than it was in the last vlog I did, in my Polarathon vlog. If you missed that, it's right here. Go check it out. But yeah, in the Polarathon vlog, I was just so overworked, and I wasn't sleeping in that video because of work. Thankfully, it's not as bad as it was that week. Things have lessened, like my load has lessened quite a bit. I was able to get some things moved around, so instead of having a full course load this coming term, I've been cut down a class, so that will help me be able to manage all the other stuff I'm doing. So there is that. What else can I tell you to update you since my last vlog? Because I haven't been vlogging as much this winter as I did previously. I was pretty heavy into the vlogging from like June through probably November, and then in November I kind of tapered off. So we haven't really had a chance to like sit down and catch up. But what else can I tell you? The chickens are doing wonderful. They're grown. They are laying eggs. I get a full dozen of eggs every time I go out. Mr. Cluck Norris, the rooster, is still being a good boy. I am concerned that as he continues to mature and his male hormones kick in, that he'll end up being an aggressive rooster, because it's very common with roosters. If he is an aggressive rooster, I will have to eat him, because they do not like to have aggressive roosters at the barn where he is boarded. So he will either have to be rehomed or eaten, and I hope that doesn't happen, because he's so sweet right now and he's so gorgeous, and I just want him to stay sweet and gorgeous. So far he is. So fingers crossed that that continues. And that's about it. Dogs are doing good. Fish are doing good. Axolotls are still here, living life. Gardening, I'm gonna have to start planning my gardening. So I need to start my seed starts, my plants for the bucket garden, because every year I do a bucket garden with vegetables, and the concentration is usually tomatoes. Like, I want to grow enough tomatoes that I can all the tomato products that we need for a year. So I need to get my tomato starts started here soon. I'm also gonna do green beans this year instead of cucumbers, because cucumbers have just not done very well in my buckets. And then I want to get some really nice flowers started. So that's something that's coming up here. Probably even this week I'll need to get those seeds started. So maybe that is something I can show you as we go. Let me tell you a little bit about Beartown. Beartown, what I know of it is it's about a hockey town, and like the whole town really revolves around hockey, kind of like in Texas. Texas is all about football. This town is all about hockey, and there is a sexual assault that occurs, and that is what I know. So it's kind of about this town dealing with that sexual assault. That's what I know, but I'll update you as I read it and as we go along here. And you know, it feels good to be vlogging again. I really did take quite a break. Even my Polarathon vlog really wasn't that like in depth. It was a pretty short vlog because of everything I had going on. So yeah, so the rest of tonight I'm just working on final grade stuff. I'm going to read some of this. I might do my nails. My house is a wreck because all I have done for the past like 4 days is take care of my cat, and so like all the dishes have piled up and the laundry has piled up. So I'm going to start digging my way out of that mess, and that's where we're at. That is where we are at. It's good to be back. Hi, I love you. There she is, Miss Cherika. Hi, honey. Hi. We're just checking on you. Do you want some water? Let me go get you some. Fresh water just for you. You gonna drink it? Oh, good girl. Good girl. Hello. It's the next day, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so the lighting is wild, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I've made progress with Beartown. I am 6 chapters in. So Beartown is about a hockey town, and it's told from a lot of different, there's a lot of points of view in this. We're talking a lot of POVs. We've got Sune, Amat's mom, Peter, Kira, Anna, Maya, and the list goes on. Kevin, right? So there are a lot of POVs in this, and it kind of rotates between those POVs along the same timeline. But the reason it does that is because it is about Bear Town, not Bear Person. So it really is illustrating like the town as the main character rather than any particular person as the main character, which, you know, that's well done. Someone else who did this was Paula Hawkins in Into the Water. She kind of did that where the town was more the focus of the story than any one particular person. So there's like a million POVs. I think Miss Pie has a hairball. Can you go in another room and hack that up? Beartown is a hockey town, and the hockey players are all like young teenagers and younger, and they're under a lot of pressure because the town is like dying. There's no economic growth, no new people moving in. Like the forest is slowly reconsuming parts of the town. It's just like a very, very small town with not a lot in it, making it worth living there. And the only thing they really have is like a really good hockey program. So all of the kids are under a lot of pressure to like be the best hockey players as they can be, and to like win, and really make hockey like the biggest part of this town, because their goal is to like build a hockey centered school, and then to build like a new like center around that school and a new mall, and like to try to bring new life into the town. So these hockey players, their coaches, and the club are under a lot of pressure to create this like award-winning if that's even a thing in hockey. Like the best of the best hockey team, sir. So pause for story time here because I really relate to this. I grew up in a very small town in Iowa, population of 1,000 people, if that, and my turn to have a hairball. And my town was not a hockey town, but it was a softball town. Like my school had a women's softball dynasty. And I did play softball up through junior high. And I played right field, which is where they put people who really can't play ball. So, because all you do in right field is just stand there, and I would just stand there, and we had this like award-winning pitcher. I don't know why I keep saying award-winning, but she was absolutely phenomenal. She was throwing 70-mile-per-hour pitches when she was in 6th grade. And she started varsity softball as soon as we finished our 8th grade year. Before we were even in high school, she was pitching for the varsity softball team. And like our team was just unstoppable. We had a completely winning record. We didn't lose a single game. We didn't lose a single tournament. And it was a softball dynasty. And I wasn't a key player, but I have this Letterman thing, and there's probably like a softball something on there somewhere. The coach was pretty hardcore, and like my whole town really focused in on just the softball dynasty. So like I stopped playing in high school. We just put the kibosh on that because I wasn't going to go anywhere. I wasn't winning any softball scholarships anytime soon. But if anybody in my small town was going to win an athletic scholarship, it was going to be a softball scholarship. And many did. And like we've got players now that are coaches at the college level. It's a softball dynasty. This coach was so hardcore. The team would play like an all-day tournament, and then it would be like 9 or 10 p.m. in the evening, and he'd turn the lights on the softball field and have another 2-hour practice doing drills and going over stuff that we didn't do like to the best of the ability that he knows the team could do. Like it was hardcore. My friend that was the pitcher who was throwing 70 miles per hour in 6th grade, she ended up on this national team, like a national US team, and she like took a tour to Australia for a tournament. Like we're a big deal in the softball world. State championship after state championship, even though we were like the smallest class of school you could possibly be. Like I graduated with 36 people, but we were winning state championships every single year in softball. So I very much understand the premise of this book and how like just the whole town is really focused on hockey and on developing these hockey players, and how the kids' futures depend on their ability to get like hockey scholarships and to advance through the ranks in the hockey world. So that is really hitting close to home for me in a good way. I mean, I was never a softball star and never would be, and I knew that. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall about how much pressure and expectation were being put on these softball teams. So I bounced out of that pretty quickly and focused my energies elsewhere. But I still experienced it as part of this town. So that's fun. That's a fun experience. Sort of reliving my history with that and reading about this small town. And another thing that this is doing is it's really setting up the small town politics and BS really well. I will never again live in a small town. I mean, I live in a small city right now. The population's probably like 100,000. So it's not a huge city by any means. But I will never again live in a town as small as the one I grew up in. Never again. Because the small town politics are such BS, and they are so, so, so intense. And this is starting to illustrate that really well. There was a quote in here that kind of hit me in the feels. Let me find it. Okay, so this is the mother, and the mother, Kira, is an implant to the town. Like, she moves here because she's married to someone who grew up there, and so she's kind of an outsider. And she's talking to her daughter, Maya, and she says, "You can't live in this town, Maya. You can only survive it." And oh my Lord, that hit me in the feels so hard, because that was my experience in a small town. Like, 100%, I didn't live in that town. I survived it. I hung on till graduation, and then I bounced the F out of there. And I don't even go back to visit. So that quote was like, yes, absolutely. The first chapter, I'll just read you the first chapter because it gave me chills. So this is chapter 1. Late one evening toward the end of March, a teenager picked up a double-barrel shotgun, walked into the forest, put the gun to someone else's forehead, and pulled the trigger. This is the story of how we got there. I'm hooked. Hi. I forgot that that was the first chapter as I was reading it, and I find myself getting really attached to the characters. And then I was messaging Amy, who I'm buddy reading this with, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I just remembered the first chapter, and this is gonna hurt. All right, I think that is a pretty good check-in for now. Plans for today are to just keep grading papers and finishing up my final grades for the term, and that's about it. So we'll check in with you later. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. We're gonna go get my free coffee from Starbucks, and then a bagel from Panera, and then hit the antique store because I'm an antique now. And then we're gonna go play with the horses, and then we're gonna come home and keep reading and order Indian takeout. And that's the plan for the birthday. It's the next day. It's actually the next evening, I should say. I've actually just spent the day keeping up with the news, with everything going on in our geopolitical situation. My heart goes out to everyone. And been trying to make some progress on Beartown by Frederick Bachman. And it is an interesting read. So what I really like about it so far is the writing. There are so many quotable moments in here that I just think the writing is really lovely. The characters are okay. I think that my favorite character so far is Benji. Everyone else feels a bit like an archetype. Like the standard hockey hero character, your character whose parents are absent, your character whose parents put pressure on them to be absolutely perfect and
the character who is, the hardworking coach who has no time in their life for anything else but hockey. Like, they feel archetypal. And I don't know, I think that I like Benji the best because Benji feels the most real. Like, he feels like the character that I think could actually exist in reality without just being like a stereotype. Amat, he's a stereotype. I mean, I hate to say that. The plot is giving me pretty hardcore 13 Reasons Why vibes. Now, I've never seen the 13 Reasons, or I've never read 13 Reasons Why, but I've seen the show 13 Reasons Why. And this is very much giving me those same kind of vibes in terms of the plot and like the atmosphere and that kind of thing. This is a story that has been told many times over in all different kinds of media. And I'm curious to see if Frederick Bachman can put any kind of unique or interesting twist to it. Otherwise, this is just going to be like a plot that's been written, as I said, many times over. So, plot, characters feel pretty archetypal, but the writing really is gorgeous. I mean, the writing is quotable and lovely, and I think the strongest part of this book so far. I am a little over halfway through. I think I'm a little over halfway through. I'm on like chapter 27 at this point. So that's where we're at with the Beartown process. Had a great birthday yesterday. Did everything that I wanted to do, and then today's Saturday, and I've just been keeping up with the news and reading. So I'm gonna keep on reading.
It's Shrove Tuesday, so happy Shrove Tuesday if you celebrate. I had my nails done. They were like these really gorgeous gray matte claws. And then I went to the barn last night and I popped them all off. So it is what it is. Hashtag worth it. For those of you who have been wondering, Cherry Cat is doing much better. She's eating on her own. Today she has kind of a voracious appetite, which is really, really nice to see. And she goes back in for a follow-up this afternoon. So I think we're moving in the right direction there, which is really good. Okay, I finished Beartown. And I rated it 4 stars out of 5. Characters were pretty good. A lot of them were kind of stereotypes though. The star athlete who is the perpetrator, the immigrant who works as a house cleaner. Those felt pretty stereotypical to me. The characters that I felt were most real and fleshed out were Benji and Kira. Kira is the mother. But I think, part of why this occurred is because the story isn't the story of any particular character. It's the story of a community. So Bachman's very careful not to put too much emphasis on any one person within the community. The atmosphere is pretty good. I really like snowy, wintry atmospheres, and I loved the descriptions of the forest and the icy lake and the cold in this. And the vibes very much gave me 13 Reasons Why vibes, even through the end. It felt very much like that, but it had more of like a wintry, cold aesthetic to it. The writing is absolutely the strength of this book. The way that he ties all the stories of the individuals together to make it a story about a community is just genius. And there's so many quotable moments in it that I paused and I thought about, and it's just, the writing is absolutely exquisite. In terms of the plot is a pretty standard sexual assault story. I was hoping that he would add something new or different to it, and he didn't really. It's questionable whether Maya got justice or not. I don't know if I feel like she did. I don't know if I love the way that that wrapped up. And there were some parts as he was wrapping up the story that felt a little bit pie in the sky to me. Like, some of the characters end up being so super successful, and there are so many characters from this tiny small town that end up like famously successful, and that felt pie in the sky and not really realistic to me. I would be curious to watch the TV adaptation, and I am interested in reading the next book in this trilogy. I don't think the third book has been translated yet. I think it's been published, but it just hasn't been translated into English yet. But the second book has, and I would definitely be interested in reading that second book just to see where it goes and to see the fallout of this situation more in the long term. And I want to know more about what happens with Benji. Of all the characters in this book, I found myself really attached to Benji. Benji felt real. Benji felt like a boy I wanted to just wrap my arms around and protect. And I think I would continue the second book, if for nothing else, to be able to spend more time with Benji. So those are my thoughts on Beartown. 4 stars out of 5. If you choose to read it, check your trigger warnings and let me know what you think. Have you read Beartown? Let me know down below. Be careful not to spoil it for folks who haven't read it, but I definitely want to talk to more people about it. It was wonderful doing this buddy read with Amy. Hi, Amy. Thanks for reading with me, and hopefully we can do more buddy reads in the future. If you haven't checked out Amy's channel, do check her out. Her channel is Harbored in Pages, and all her information is in the description box down below. That is where I am going to wrap this particular vlog up. If you want to just let me know that you're here, go ahead and leave a hockey stick emoji in the chat. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!